Hey everybody, so in this video we are going to be looking at how to create a stem and leaf plot, and then what do we do with that information? What does that information tell us? So this is one that is quite different from some of the other ways that we have seen data, so I want to be sure to go through it with you. Now, one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to see the data that's given. So here in this box we have some data given. And we have 24 bits of information. Now, when you have a lot of information or data, more than 10 or more than 20, you're going to want to find ways to show the data graphically where you can draw conclusions. And so that's one of the benefits of seeing stem and leaf plots here. And the first thing we want to do and take a look at are what are the number ranges. So first, when I browse through here, I'll see, well, what is my lowest number? And it looks like my lowest number here, let me see where my pen is 22. My highest number looks like it's going to be the 65. So it's going to run between the 20s and between the 60s. So because I know that, I'm going to take the first letter, so the number. So if I have 22, for an example, let's just start with that first number. So we're talking about a stem and a leaf. I'm going to draw a line between the two like this, just the way this is drawn here. And I'm going to call this my stem and this my leaf. Okay. So if I know my stem is a 2, the first thing I want to put into my table here is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that I know I have that, I'm going to start by circling all the ones that are in the 20s. This helps me to see. Skipped one right there. So there's a few. I'm going to erase the one that I did the 65. Okay. So now that I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, 8 of my numbers here are in the 20s. I want to organize all the leaves. We know they all start with a 2. So these are all the ones start with a 2. But what numbers do I see behind the 2? For an example, what are my leaves? And I want to put them in order. So the first one is a 22, so my first leaf is a 2. And I want to separate using commas. So a 2, I got that one, I'll cross that off the list. Then I have a 24, so I'll add a 4. I have another 24, I'm going to account for another 4. Then I have a 25, 2 25, so I will account for 2 5s. And let's see, a 26, comma, a 6, and 2 28s. So I have comma 8 and comma 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know when I look at this, my numbers are 22, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, 28, and 28. That accounts for all of the 20s. You would repeat that same pattern for each of the numbers that you have here. So for an example, let me erase all of those for the 20s that we've completed. I'll show you how to get started for the 30s, and then you're going to complete the rest of this table on your own. So let me pick a new color. So for my 30s, I have a 32, a 35, a 30, 32, 36, 30, 36. That looks like all of them. Since I've already written the 3, now I want to write, again, all the extensions in order. So I'm going to start with this one. It's a 30. It has a 0, so I'm going to put actually 0, a comma, cross that one off. Another 30, so that means I'll put a 0. Next number I get to, I have 2 32s, so I'm going to account for those twice, a 2 and another 2. Then I have a 35, so comma 5, and then 2 36s, so comma 6, comma 6. So now I know when I look back, my stem or my main number for 3, and my leaf would be the second, so 3, 0 together makes 30. Another 30, a 32, a 32, 35, 36, and 36. So I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and complete the rest of this for 4, 5, and 6, the numbers that are here in the box. I'll see you right back. Okay, so hopefully you've had an opportunity to complete the rest of that table, the stem and leaf plot. So let's take a look here for number 4, a 4 stem of 4. We have 0, 1, 5, 5, and 8. Check your paper. And then for 5, a 0 and a 5. And then for 6, a 0 and a 5 as well. So what this information is telling me is that there are only 2 amounts in the 6 stem and 2 amounts in the 5 stem. So let's go back and read what this question was asking. It says, the table shows the number of minutes people stayed at Andrea's restaurant. Then it says, use the data to plot a stem and leaf plot below. So we are ahead of the game. We have plotted the stem and leaf data there, and now there's a few questions to answer. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'll move a little back and forth. My numbers are going to go with me. So number 2 says, do you expect the median to be in stem 5 and then to explain it? Well, let's go back up. What do they mean, the median in stem 5? Well, here is stem 5. I'll highlight that in yellow. Do we expect that the median would be there in that range? Okay, well, what the median is the middle number. So if I add these up, if I say 22 is my lowest number, 65 is my highest number, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about 8 numbers here, 7 numbers here, 5 numbers here, 2 and 2. I really don't think that in the 5s is where I'm going to find the middle between 22 and 65. Because there's just so many that have less time in the restaurant. Like literally 8 people were in the restaurant for between 22 and 28 minutes. And so the way I would describe that, so how can I answer that question in words? So I would say here, do you expect the median to be in stem 5? No. There are not, whoops, that's funny. Here we go. No. Let's say it this way, the median is the middle number, and that's too far away. Okay, so the median is the middle. So median is middle, and the 5 stem does not have enough leaves. I'm going to plural leaves. Sorry for that messy writing. So explain how we would find the median for this set of data. Well, in order to find the median for this set of data, I'm going to go ahead and erase that right now so I can write here. We would order these from least to greatest, and that's actually how we set it up. So you would actually count straight through. So you would order from least to greatest. Here we go. Order numbers from least to greatest and find the middle one. Now we've done this in class a few times. Feel free to go back. I erased that data now, but when we did have that written in here, you could have gone back and just counted how many 2s. You could have counted how many numbers altogether. We did find out there are 24 numbers altogether. So you would have started here and just counted 8 across, and another 4 because half of 24 is 12. And then the fourth one on the list for the 3s, that was your median. So I challenge you to go back and find out and write in your median number there. Okay? So number 4 says, describe the shape of the stem and leaf plot. Well, that's a tricky one. We don't talk a lot about shapes, but let's talk about it now. So the shape of the stem and leaf plot, we had, let's erase all of it. We had many leaves on the smaller stems, meaning the smaller number of stems, and less leaves on the greater stems. I'm going to use the word greater. So those 5s and 6s and 4s had less leaves on them. So number 5 says, if no one stayed for more than 50 minutes, how would this affect the range, the median, and the modes? So now we have to think back. So we were talking about how many people were dining, how long they stayed at Andrea's restaurant. Let me scroll up for you. And here we go. So how many people were dining? Well, if we took off all the 5s and 6s, nobody stayed for 50 or 60 minutes or more. That means all of our numbers would go down because our range would be much less. Okay, the range again is the least to the greatest, the difference between them. So if no one stayed more than 50 minutes, how would that affect our range, our median, and the modes? Well, if no one stayed for more than 50 minutes, then our range would be less. So our range would decrease. Okay. And our median, our middle number, we honestly don't know because it depends how many. If we still had 24, we would still have to find the 12th number halfway through to find out what that is. So it may or may not decrease, but in this case, it would decrease if all information is the same. So median would see a decrease. And the modes. Okay, so what are the modes? The modes are the ones that happen the most. For an example, we had 250s. What else did we have on there? All right, we had 250s. We had in the 20s, I think we had a few that were exactly the same. 25, 25. I thought there was a third 25. Not seeing it here. So your mode is the one that happens the most. So we cannot say that the mode would change. We can say that the mode may or may not change. It just depends. So mode depends on the new numbers. We don't know what the numbers are yet to see which ones happen the most. Okay? And so that's an introduction there to creating a stem and leaf plot. You do have an assignment coming up in which you will go for